He takes care of us,
and he's a superhero.
And he's part pet. Yeah, because he saves our lives.
But diabetes could kill us.
Hi, Armstrong. What a good boy. Good boy. Good boy. Diabetes is an autoimmune disease where the pancreas doesn't produce enough insulin or doesn't produce any insulin. And we work with diabetics that are type 1 diabetics, and so they have either no pancreatic action or little pancreatic action. And what can happen is, in the course of managing their disease, they need to keep their blood sugars as close to normal as possible. And they do this by keeping track of how many carbohydrates they intake, how much exercise they have, and then adjusting the amount of insulin that they have to inject through syringes or through an insulin pump into their body on a continuing basis. It's always a balancing act and a juggling act to decide how many carbohydrates did I take in, how much exercise will I get, and how much insulin will I need for the day. So what can happen is we can get a little bit too much insulin into our bodies, or perhaps we have a little bit more exercise than what we had planned, and so our blood sugars can drop.
Oh, good boy.
Can you kiss this? Oh, he's my lover and my kisser, huh? Yes, you are. The worry is overcoming when you have a type 1 diabetic. It overwhelms you, and especially when you have 3, it's a disease that you can't 100% control. It's a lot of work to get a dog, and you're so excited, but the depression at that point had overcome me. When we were placed with Lawton, it was about 8 months later. It was the relief from the storm. He's exactly what I needed, especially being able to sleep at night. It's like having a backup. It's like having somebody who understands. And when I'm having a bad day, his head's on my lap. He alerts at times where I would have had no clue that these kids were going low. I mean, it would be immediately after dinner, and he's here alerting me. And I'm like, they just ate, there's no way. But he's so persistent, and I go check their sugar, and sure enough, somebody's low. And it's amazing what he catches. So really, he is a superhero. He's a continuous glucose monitor, but he's real time, and he's amazing.
Our diabetics that have the dogs now are reporting back to us that they are happier, less depression. They've got a companion that's completely non-judgmental to them, still nudges them to check their blood sugars, but it's not the same as mom or dad or a spouse saying, check your blood sugar, check your blood sugar. The nagging of a Labrador is a little bit easier than the nagging of a human being.
Well, when she was diagnosed and realized how limited this made her, that she couldn't feel her low blood sugars, she was getting a little tired of having me all the time with her. It's not fun to be 12 years old and your mom has to be at your sleepover birthday party. She felt limited and sad, and also scared, because it's scary when you can't feel your low blood sugars till you are unable to do something about it. You have to always have somebody with you.
Rochelle and Dogs for Diabetics has given our family hope. Hope for the future, that she can be independent, go to college, be like everybody else, and be safe without us having to worry constantly about her low blood sugars and her not recognizing it. Rochelle is a lifesaver, and I don't know how many times she's saved Kristen's life, but it's almost weekly she does something devil just stopped us in our track and say that, how did you know that? How did you know that that was going to happen? She makes her life so much easier to live. She makes it possible for Kristen to be a 13-year-old happy child that competes gymnastics and is no different from anybody else.
Whether it's just this complicated treatment that kids are trying to learn, parents are trying to get their children to start taking over, college students are trying to live normal lives and trying to pull this off. But the emotional impact, the stress of diabetes is incredible. Of course, we know there are studies that show people who with dogs exercise more. Dogs are good for people with depression. If a person would form a bond with a dog, I mean, it would have a positive effect on them. The dogs that people are starting to get, and of course it's a very small number of people in the world who have hypoglycemia alerting dogs. Those dogs are providing an extra service to a diabetic person, and that is the potential that they can tell them when they're low. If there's a counselor at camp who has a dog, I make sure they're on our panel. And they will say, I don't feel so alone in my diabetes anymore, which is very interesting. What is it like for someone to leave home and go away to college and suddenly have this whole weight on them? And they talk about that. This is their companion in their diabetes.
Before I got Ray, I have what's called brittle diabetes. I got a lot of very frequent and severe lows, like in the 20s. And I would lose consciousness, have seizures. I was in a coma once. Incredibly scary situation. So I was living in constant fear, essentially. And I didn't participate in very many on-campus activities. I didn't have a lot of friends. I spent a majority of the time just managing my disease and trying to do well in school. And my parents were extremely worried, calling me 2 times a day and just making sure I was conscious. And, you know, God forbid I wasn't by my phone at 9 a.m. They would, you know, want to call an ambulance. So my life was not ideal. When I finally got Ray, the first thing that came back was friends. I had people constantly coming up to me and asking about Ray and wanting to know about her and what she did and you know, why I had her and telling me how lucky I was. For the first time in my life, had a chance to tell people about my diabetes in a positive context. And it's a bright and happy moment. It's a proud moment for me. It's a moment when I realize I no longer have so much shame about my disease, because I definitely used to be one of those people that hid their disease. Like, I was very reluctant to share it with people, but now I'm not. Now I feel confident and secure, not only in my life and my safety, but in just discussing my condition. And I completely attribute all of that to Ray. Ray has been a ray of hope. And now I'm involved on a whole bunch of things on campus. I'm part of a pre-law fraternity. I'm involved in community service. I have lots and lots of friends and people who know me. I even started dating. I have a serious boyfriend now, and I contribute the whole thing to Ray. I think she is one of the best things that has ever happened to me.
Our program is designed such that the diabetic receives their dog free of charge. The dogs can have a tremendous impact in the life of each diabetic. Not only do they have the ability to save the life of that diabetic, but they have all the other auxiliary benefits that a dog can bring into your life. We would like to be able to share this program with more people and expand our coverage area to be able to serve more diabetics and more diabetics that need the companionship of a dog. We would like to save more lives. Your donation will help us save lives.